Fell for the trap again. Yep. Damn it. And this one I should have saw, but I forgot about it. Many of us probably forgot about it, except for some. In fact, it's because I came across a TikTok and then I realized, oh no, why didn't I stop and think about this? So it's regarding this whole thing going on in Texas, okay? So a couple years ago, like 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, as soon as the borders were being flooded, before anybody was shipped to sanctuary cities, Trump was telling the border state governors like DeSantis and Abbott, declare an invasion and then you can bypass the federal government. And then once they declare an invasion, then they can use their National Guard to just deport them all. He said it a couple times, and then there was some media, like maybe it was The Hill, that had reported on it, because I looked it up. It is in the Constitution, so they wouldn't have been in any trouble. It was a clause that if they declared an invasion because the federal wasn't doing their job, then they could deport, the border state could deport them. So when I found that out a couple years ago, I had done a couple videos about it, and what really pissed me off is I'm like, DeSantis is sending a bunch of illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard. Abbott sending them to Chicago. And yet most of the country, especially in Florida and Texas, were like, yeah, get him, Abbott, get him, DeSantis. And DeSantis was on fire then, okay? Because he was made out to everyone that he was the best governor when it came to COVID. No, he wasn't. Kristi Noem was. Her and there's somebody else. She's the governor for one of the Dakotas. She did not do lockdown. She mandated nothing. She stuck to the letter of the law with the Constitution. She left it up to the people to decide what was best for them. That's really what all governors should have done. Really, if they were going to follow the Constitution, that is. But only 2 in this country actually followed it really to the letter of the law, and they didn't lock down. No lockdown, no mandates. Just your adults do what's best for you. If you want to keep your kids home, your employee, all that. That's what the governors should have done. But they were displaying Ron DeSantis as this king of, he did the best. Well, no, he didn't. And Kristi Noem was one, because I remember, seeing her on something where she had said she didn't do any of it, but they didn't want to highlight her because they needed to push DeSantis at that time. Of course, now DeSantis has fallen from his pedestal, but damn it, this makes me so mad. So I got a lot of hate because I called both Ron DeSantis and Governor Abbott traffickers, and I went after the hate, because I usually will. But I said, no, it makes no sense what they're doing. Because 2 years, these people never had to get into Chicago. Chicago's like getting destroyed. New York's getting destroyed. And so they know this is how good these manipulators are at this game. They know that the people will start rallying behind the governor. So rally behind Abbott because now he's finally stepping up, right? Because didn't he just declare the invasion last year? He should have done it 2 years ago before he sent anybody into the middle of the country. So I realized 2 years ago, I'm like, no, they're both trafficking. They're a link in the trafficking chain because they're helping to push them into the sanctuary cities, into the middle of the country. And yet they're doing it on this, we can't handle this. That's the kind of hate I would get. I live in Texas, we can't handle this. And I'm like, I get it. But Trump said all they have to do is declare an invasion and start deporting them. So instead of deporting them into the middle of the country, they should have deported them back home. But Abbott waited until I think it was just this past year at the end, right? In the past several months that he declared the invasion and started deporting them. But he didn't do it at the beginning. So you know how they're going after Trump? And Trump always says how they waited to come after me. Like if they wanted to put all these 91 indictments on him, they should have done it. They could have done it 2-3 years ago, and they didn't. No, they waited till he started running Because the goal, and that's what we forget, the overall goal, we know what the goal of the globalists is, right? Most people do. And so the biggest threat to the globalist is Trump. He's the biggest threat. They'll do anything to keep him from office. So why wouldn't Abbott deport 2 years ago? Instead, he deported into Chicago. Now Chicago's falling apart. I got really pissed off about it with people because they became so protective of their governors. Really, like to the point it's like, what, you think your governor's so great now? They're traffickers. Because they wouldn't address it. They instead, for 2 years, have sent them all throughout the country, right? All into the middle of the countries. And what pissed me off even more is what people don't understand about the sanctuary cities is police can't go up to any of those migrants. It's dangerous, actually. So that kind of pissed me off too, as somebody who has family, loved ones in Chicago that work in the police. People can be trafficked easily in a sanctuary city. I know Democrats think it's about we're so open and free. Yeah, no, it's just a way to really traffic people because police can't go up and ask any of them for ID or anything. So those women, children, whoever could be in horrible situations and being trafficked, and in a sanctuary city, you'll never know it because the police, part of the boundaries the police have is they can't ask for ID from migrants or any of that. So it all confused me why both, if Governor DeSantis and Abbott were on the up and up, why they wouldn't have taken Trump's advice. And because I had read from the section where it's at in the Constitution, where the state can declare the invasion and then start deporting them themselves. None of these people had to get into the middle of our country. But see, I forgot about it. And so everybody's been talking about the flooding of the border, which is what the globalists want. They're behind it. So Abbott helped with it. DeSantis helped with it because they could have been, as soon as these people came in, having their National Guard send them out. But Governor Abbott just started doing that in the last several months. Now he's getting this hero status, right? Because he's going to defend his land. Now he is. But he could have done this 2 years ago. But instead, he was helping the globalists. This is why this is a problem. Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, initiated the implementation of a provision of U.S. Constitution which allows to declare martial law in Texas and act without the approval of the federal government. What election cycle are we in? We're nearing an election. The Democrats know that they'll lose. And they're not going to go down without a fight. The only way they can do anything to stay in office is they need a civil war so that martial law can be declared and then there's no election. Because I think that's one of the ways that a president can stay in office and necessary, because there's a civil war. So we're right at the time. It explains why Abbott didn't want to declare the invasion 2 years ago, because he wanted to help the globalists. Because, again, we're forgetting that most of the people at your state and federal level are in the club. And I totally forgot about this, and I knew it because it didn't make any sense. If you can deport them out, why are you busing them all over the United States? And now every city, New York, Chicago, those places never had to fall apart, except all these governors were working with these blue state governors to help bring these people in, because all of them, whether on the right or the left, are globalists. And their goal, no matter how much they say they support Trump, their goal is to keep Trump out of office, because Trump is the #1 threat to the globalists. Damn it. So when I saw this about the martial law, I'm like, oh, shit. That's why he waited. That's why he didn't declare the invasion 2 years ago, like Trump had said. See how easily you can forget something just from a couple years ago, but they just don't want Trump to get in. They want a civil war.